Well, it's been a couple of days, and I've had a million things going through my head since Saturday. Honestly, since Friday as well. I, what do you say when you know, you have an opportunity to do something with a bunch of kids that you love very much, and they are getting to do something that you've got to do before on a different level. Obviously, I've done it. I had done it on the high school level, but never on the middle school level. And what do you say when you're getting to experience something with a bunch of people, like I said, that you love dearly, and you've kind of talked at different times? You started out small in terms of what your goals were, and then next thing you know, your small goals turn into big goals, and they turn into something that you never even dreamt that could possibly happen. Um, on our way home from the sectional, I don't remember if I said it in the last podcast, but I looked over at the two people I coach with, Coach Argo and Coach Bradshaw, and after we had been riding, we were on our way home. The kids had kind of settled down as we were getting ready to get home and follow the fire truck around Mason City and then Greenview. And I look over at them and I look over at them and I'm like, we're going to state. And that was last Wednesday. And I had no idea how much was going to be needed to be done between the time we won that sectional game and the time that we played on Saturday at 1 o'clock. It's a lot of work to go to state, not just the basketball side of it to get there, but um, to actually go and participate. The season started on September 3rd. Labor Day weekend was the weekend before. And we had two practices with everyone there before our first game. We did not have two practices. We had two practices with everyone there before the first game. Because softball was going on across country and golf, and kids are participating in a lot of things, and that's a good thing. And so we didn't have everybody together. And who would have dreamt at the beginning of the season that we would be able to have this happen? I don't even know if I still, even today, can put it into words. The fact that the things they were able to do, the memories they were able to make. Um, the reason why I wasn't able to do this Saturday night I couldn't do it because when I got home on Saturday, we headed right to Rana's Bank Christmas party, and it was nice. Even after a disappointing morning or early afternoon, I got to spend time with my wife, who um, I spent more time from September 3rd until last Saturday with my girls than I did with my wife. And if you wanted to count hours, um, there's probably a good chance that I did. And that's what a coach has to do. That a good coach, a coach who cares, that's what they're doing. They're spending a lot of time away from their family, um, and so Saturday it was nice that even after a disappointing outcome of the game, I was able to spend the evening with my wife. So to say that, because I don't know if I could have done this Saturday night. It's still pretty emotional. There were a handful of things on Saturday that got me. And so then yesterday, I got up and I thought, well, I'm going to do this before I go to church, because I had a couple players who told me in the last couple weeks that I needed to be getting back to church. Sometimes they teach you to, and or coach you to. And but I couldn't do it yesterday either. And I stood at church. I stood during the worship part of church yesterday, and if someone would have looked over at me, I was welling up during that period of time too, because I was thinking of some different things about Saturday and the past week and memories from the season and things like that. Um, I'm a crier. I'm a mama's boy. I have no problem admitting that. I never had a problem with my own children crying after games or after things as long as we weren't being a baby. Because to me, there's two types of crying. There's being a baby because you feel sorry for yourself or you're being pouty or you didn't get what you want, even though you didn't work for it. And then there's the kind of crying where you're invested. I told someone I work with today, you know, these kids invested a lot of time. And when you invest time and you pour your heart into something, and then it doesn't necessarily turn out the way you wanted it to, whether it was a relationship or when you try to get a job and you didn't get it, or you didn't win a basketball game that you would like to have won, there's nothing wrong with crying as long as you're not being a baby about it. And I'm that person. I named my youngest child after a kid I coached who he would cry. He would get so mad he would cry. That's part of the reason why I named my child after him, because I don't know if I ever coached anybody that cared as much about anything as Cole Fogelsong cared about doing his best and succeeding. Someday I'll do a podcast about Cole Fogelsong and the stories I have about that kid. But I had tears standing in church. I had a couple of times during the pregame where it kind of got me. A couple of things got me. And I don't know if I could have done this Sunday morning either. So here I sat, Monday afternoon, first day without practice in a long time that didn't involve a game night, maybe since Rhonda's birthday, or around Rhonda's birthday weekend in October, probably since then, where I've been home this early. So I'm going to ramble. So remember, you can always pause it. You can always quit listening, whatever you choose to do. So I'm just going to I was going to make a list of things I wanted to say or talk about, but I'm just going to ramble and hope it's not bad, because I don't want to start over again, because I've already been going for 8 minutes. One of my sons texted me on Friday and said, "What time's that game tomorrow?" And I texted him back and thought, well, that must mean we're going to come to my game. And my kids are 27, 25, and 23. They're adults, obviously. They don't have to come and support their dad. They didn't have to come and sit in the crowd at a middle school girls basketball game for their dad. Unfortunately, my son-in-law had to work. He got called in, so he wasn't there. He and my daughter, they couldn't make it. I thought Hannah probably couldn't make it because she works third shift, and I wouldn't expect my daughter on a Saturday to come to a middle school basketball game. But I look over there in the crowd and I find my sons. That kind of got me. Those two and I have a lot of memories together. A lot of memories of basketball, and we've been to a lot of gyms and been to a lot of practices, been to a lot of games, whether it was them playing or my practices or my games over their life with me. And basketball is such a big part of our life, and it has been for a long time. Just having them there. Sorry about my voice. I am choked up, but if you haven't been around me, if you've been around me, you know my voice has been like this for a week now. It does seem a little better today, but it was not good on Saturday. But anyway, seeing Gage and Cole in the crowd, that meant a lot to me. I love those boys. Which leads me to the next moment that got me. And my dear friend, Coach Francis, who was my assistant when I was the varsity coach all but one of those years. And he took a picture. He's the one that took this great picture of my son Cole and I after my last varsity game, and then after Cole's last game. And he posted it, and he had a really nice post about our fans and Illini Central's fans. And I hope that the families of my players, and I know they did, but I hope we appreciate the fact that there were staff members that are willing to take a day off, take a Saturday, and come to and ride a fan bus and make sure that kids can come there to support their kids. And Illini Central, since the time I got there, we were successful in sports, especially volleyball at the beginning of my time at Illini Central, and basketball too, high school basketball too. But I've seen a number of situations where our community just shows out for their kids. That crowd on Saturday, I don't know how the other crowds were after we left, but I can't imagine they were any bigger than ours. And supportive. And I've been to games when big crowds show up and then the game's not going so well and it doesn't seem like it's your day, kind of like it wasn't our day on Saturday. And the fans kept trying to will us back into the game. I love that. I absolutely love it. I know the year we got third. You go and you lose the first game at state on the high school level. That means you're playing for third and fourth. I mean, heck, you're going to get a trophy one way or the other. So you go out in the third and fourth place game, and we were kind of just playing lackluster, and we weren't playing real well. And it kind of seemed like, oh, well, we're just going to end up getting fourth because we just don't have it today. And our crowd, like our bench, I can't probably move my hands this way, but like where we were on the bench, we're over here, and our crowd is back here up here in this corner. And I just remember Coach Giesler and I like trying to get the guys going. And at one point during a timeout, and I think the people that were like the professional photographers there, they got a shot of me in the huddle, and I'm getting on our guys. Our crowd is cheering their butt off, trying to keep us in this game. And I said to them, we didn't come all this way, and these people over here didn't come all this way for us just to lay down and take it and just roll over and just accept fourth place. Let's go. And that's what our fans did on Saturday. They tried their hardest to rally us, to keep us going. And Coach Francis's post was perfect. It was true. And our fans are just, on that level, just terrific. It was so, I don't know. I saw people in that gym. They haven't been to a game in a long time, but they were there on Saturday, and that meant a lot. A lot. Which then brings me to a comment by Emery Adams. Emery's a sixth grader on the team. She told me earlier in the week, maybe Friday, I don't remember exactly, that she was like, gosh, the number of texts that I've got and messages I've got of people congratulating me and telling us, saying how great it is what we're doing, that got me too. Because she's right. I'm getting texts from former players. I'm getting texts from people and messages from people wishing you well. And, people, we should try to do that every day. Obviously, it's different, but, in those moments, it's so fun when you're a part of something, when things are going well and people are really 100% behind you and letting you know how happy they are for you. I had a text from one of my dear friends, Saturday morning, and just well wishes. It's just, there's nothing better than when we're trying to do what we can to wish others well when they're doing, something as amazing as going to state. But what if we were doing that more often for maybe not something? We haven't been to, Illini Central's middle school girls haven't been to state since 1992. Let that sink in for a second. I don't know what your life, I don't know what 1992 means to you, but in 1992, I was 21 years old. I think. Is my math good? Yeah. 21. I'm a year from getting married. I'm not even married yet. I don't have kids. I'm an absolute ding dong. I'm 21 years old. The last time Illini Central. I didn't look like this, by the way. Um, the last time Illini Central went to state in middle school girls basketball. That's a big deal. But we also could be positive and try to pick people up when not because of an event that hasn't happened for 32 years. There's all kinds of reasons to be positive. But I will say, this past week in this season, with two teams, seventh and eighth both, well over 500, one makes it to a regional championship game, the other one goes to state. It's a pretty good reason to get excited. Pretty good reason to be positive and reach out and do the extra things. Coach Burks put together two great pep assemblies. The one on Friday was fantastic. There's something about a pep assembly. There's something about trying to get everybody to rally behind what a certain group of people are doing. It's too bad, though, that we live in a time where kids aren't as involved. You have as many people involved, and they don't understand how awesome it is to be a part of something, because that's the basis of the excitement to me. Oh, to be a part of a team. It's so great. Win or lose. Win or lose. If you're on a team, I was on a team that went 1-8 in football my senior year. And those are some of my best memories with some people I love dearly, with the best coach I ever could have asked for, with a coach that taught me how to be the coach I am today, that if it wasn't for him, those of you who have coached your kids, you would have never had the experience that I've tried to give your kid if it wasn't for Coach Snowden. I would have never known how to treat your kid the way I treated your kid. I would have never known how to be the champion for your kid that I've tried to be, because if I didn't know Nelson Snowden, Coach Snowden, I would have been able to do it. Coach Snowden taught me how to believe in your kid. Coach Snowden, he's in heaven now, but he was a part of that the other day. He was a part of what we did the other day. Nathan List. If you're watching this or listening to this and you don't know who Nathan List is, Nathan List is one of the best people you'd ever want to meet. Nathan drives a school bus to our games. He drives school bus for Illini Central. He keeps my book for me. Nathan takes the varsity boys to games. He's been taking the varsity boys to games since another great bus driver and great guy, Kurt Means, used to do it. And when Kurt's son, Sam, graduated from high school in 2009, he turned it over to Nate. Nate's been driving the high school boys since 2010. So many great memories. And when I quit being the varsity coach, Nate and I had a big hug and a cry in the locker room after the game. That was going to be the last time we were going to be doing that together. I mean, we were both sobbing. About a month and a half later, I'd say, I'll do it. When it came down to being the middle school girls basketball coach. And I went to Nate and I said, Nate, I don't think I can do this without you. So we start doing it again. I got this great picture from the end of the first year. Of us at a tournament the day of Justin and Mariah's wedding, and we're at a regional game. We're at a regional game at Springfield Calvary, and Nate didn't have to come out of retirement. Nate drives the school bus. Like I said, Nate drives the middle school girls. He's driving the high school boys. He's going to be driving the bus to games until well into the spring, and he didn't have to. He doesn't have to care about the kids the way he does. It wouldn't be the same without Nate doing it. It just wouldn't. Wouldn't be the same yelling down the bench. Nate, how many timeouts do we have left? Nate, how many fouls is that on JC? How many fouls is that on Emily? Nate, whose ball is it? It just wouldn't be the same. Those are the little things that make it special, that make a season special, having those kind of people around you. Coach Argo and Coach Bradshaw, two of my former students coaching beside me, has been a lot of fun as well. Both the kind of people who those kids love them. Those players just love them. They are so good with them. They look out for them. They, there's lots of things that a coach should be, that when a coach does something that if you're a contrarian, say, well, that's what a coach should do. Well, you know what? A lot of them don't. I know some that don't. And our girls are blessed to have had those two as their coaches, to have them around. The time that they spend thinking about it and worrying about it and trying to be better and trying to be there for those kids, our girls are blessed to have Coach Argo and Coach Bradshaw in their lives, not just their basketball life, their life. They're so blessed to have them. Just excited to be coaches. And one of the last podcasts I did, I watched some coaches this season who they're not that. I'll probably better leave it at that. They're not that. They're not what Coach Argo and Coach Bradshaw are. And if your kids played this year, you've been blessed to have those two make a difference, especially Coach Argo the last 2 years and Coach Bradshaw helping this year and then 2 years ago. Such good coaches, such good people. They are a blessing to the kids that have got to have them as a coach. So after the game is over and you realize the season has come to an end, there's a weight that's lifted off of your shoulders. Today, this is different. Because once it starts, if you care and you're doing a good job, you are never not thinking about it. I don't like to take days off. I feel guilty that the weekend of Columbus Day, my wife's birthday normally falls around that time. I feel guilty that we take that Friday and that Monday off. Can't take days off. You can't take days off. I'm not cheating anybody. And I'm going to talk about that in a pod coming up. But I'm not cheating anybody. I'm not. And you realize at the end of the year just how much you completely and totally put into it. And whether or not you're a good coach or not, I don't know. You might have been sitting at that game on Saturday and why aren't they doing this or why aren't they doing that? And you might have sat at the games throughout the year. Why aren't they doing this or why aren't they doing that? I don't know. I've done it for a long time. And I know. I was thinking today, I was like, why didn't we do this? Or why didn't I do that? I can't go back and relive it. I can't go back and do anything about what happened Saturday. I tell kids that, don't worry, you can't go back and do it. What can you do to make it better the next time? Yeah, I sat there today at work and I thought, why didn't I do that? We could have done that. My youngest, he went back a couple of years ago and watched all of his high school games. I refuse to go back and watch them no matter how bad I want to. Because what can I do about something that happened 7 years ago? Nothing. That's why it's so important to give your best and do your best in the moment, because you can't go back and do it over again. Cole would come home and he'd say, we were watching such and such a game last night, and I'm not sure why we didn't. And I'm like, Cole, I can't fix it now. I wish I could, but I can't. I can't change what I did 7 years ago. I can't go back to Saturday afternoon at 1:30 and change this defensive thing or this offensive thing. Why didn't we do this? I'm not joking. I seriously sat there this afternoon and thought to myself, why didn't I do that? You have to do what you think is right in the moment. And then you have to live with it. And as long as you did what you thought was right in the moment and you cared enough to make that decision correctly, you got to live with the outcome. Two more things. 27 minutes. One, with about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to go, we're down 10. And you're like, in your head, there's part of you that's like, we're only down 10. What if you got 14 points? It took you three quarters and 3/4 of the fourth quarter to get 14. It's not your day shooting. But what if you can make a run? And then the good side of you says, the side of you that has perspective says, why don't we get everybody in the game? But I'm not going to lie to you. There's a side of you in your head that's like, yeah, but what if we, and the best part was, I looked down at Coach Bradshaw and she looks at me, and before she even said it, I said, yeah, do it. Because you needed to get everybody in. If you're I won't say it. If you're one of those people that, yeah, but you could have come back. Yeah, okay, you could have. But you know what? You did something better. You got everybody in. Every single person on that team got to play in a state game. I'll live with it. I'll live with it. And if other people can't live with it or they don't agree with it, whatever. Those are moments that it's hard as a coach because there's part of you, it's like, but maybe we could. It's all right. It's all right. And we did the right thing. And I will believe that for the rest of forever. It's bigger than that. Made memories, because it's that, like, in the end, that's what it's all about. The difference between a team that loses the first round of the regional and a team that did what we did on Saturday is that we got to make more memories. Yeah, there's 2 plaques and there's a ball and there's going to be a banner in our brand new gymnasium that's going to open in a handful of days. 2 weeks. All of that's great and fine, but it's the memories that we made that's what matters. That's what matters. I have a state championship ring somewhere in this upstairs. And when I get together with those boys, they're 30, getting to 30 now, we don't talk about shots and baskets and defense. We talk about memories. It's the opportunity to make memories. And if we would have stuck to, but what if we can come back? Somebody doesn't remember them getting out there and getting an opportunity to play. And if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. But I'm not. I'm not. The last thing, 30 minutes. 30 minutes and 38 seconds and counting. After the game in the locker room, I'm trying to think of what to say. And I say, you know me. I don't have a problem with thinking of something. And I pour my heart out, and there's lots and lots of tears. And at the end of what I said, I was talking to Willie. I Willie's the one that I talked about how I chewed her out and she was hanging her head, and I told her to get her chin up. Come on, we need you. Chin up. And she couldn't remember. She's so fun. And I asked her if she could remember what I said like the next day or even later that night. I don't even remember now. And she couldn't remember. She's throwing things out that I would say. She's trying to remember what I said. And in that moment in the locker room on Saturday, I said, did you ever remember what I said? And she said, yeah. You said chin up. And I said, as we leave this locker room, I don't want anybody with their chin down. Nobody has their chin down. We walk out here proud of what we've done. No chins down, no heads hung. We walk out of here chin up. Okay? And then after that, I said, you call it breaking it down. Those of you who haven't played sports, you get into your huddle, whether you're breaking the huddle by the bench in a basketball game or on the football field or wherever, volleyball, blah, 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 whatever. And you put your hand in, when you put your hand in, team on 3 is what I would usually do this year. I said, let's break it down one more time. And Willie looks at me and looks at us and she goes, life is good on 3. And I'm like, yep. Life is good on 3. Dear friends, family members, whoever, people involved in the roller coaster ride, the run that we just went on, don't forget. Don't ever forget. Life is good. Take care. I'll see you.